Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio, your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
Hello, I'm Kimberly SCHAFER, your host of the Persistence Payoff Show. We're here today on USA Global TV and Radio, and I'd like to thank both USA Global TV and Radio and also Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck for setting up this platform and giving us this opportunity. This show is focused on persistence. I'm on my own journey of persistence and learning about it every day. I'm a first-time entrepreneur and inventor. I'm the inventor of the ring thing, which is a waterproof patented ring holder. And I'm finding that persistence is critical in learning to set up a business and to learn about how to manufacture a new product. So for me personally, this show is one of my passions in terms of the topic, but it's also very applicable to my life. One of the things I'm learning is that persistence can show up in multiple ways. So there's an external version of it where people can see that we're really pushing through to make our goals happen and work on our businesses or our dreams. And there are external signs of that. There are also internal signs of it. And it may come in the form of learning to listen to those whispers that we get. We may get an internal whisper that says, you know, I think you should try this new thing, or, you know, maybe this is a change that you could consider making. And it's easy for us not to listen to those, but persistence helps us listen to both internal and external messages and helps guide our life. And I think that our guest today is expert at both of those things. And I'm really excited to talk with her about it. Glenda Benevides is an award-winning Grammy-nominated singer-songwriter. She's also a voting member of the Recording Academy. And in addition to her recording career, she also has a really successful live performance career where she gives very dynamic and powerful live performances. Her writing doesn't simply stop with songs, but she also writes books, and she's published 4 books so far, including Own the Goddess Within. She's now founded a retreat series called the VIP Goddess Code Retreat, and I'm looking forward to hearing about that. She's also a philanthropist, and a portion of every sale of a piece of her merchandise or her music or her books is donated to One Tree Planted, and they plant a tree based on every purchase. So she's also giving back. She's a singer-songwriter, a healer, an author, and an altruist. And please join me in welcoming Glenda Benevides to the show.
Hi, Kimberly.
Hi.
Thanks for having me on.
Oh, thank you so much. And thank you for being back on. You were on in December, and I so enjoyed our conversation.
That's right. And I'm remembering now.
Yeah, it was great. And I'm actually really excited to talk with you because at that time you were preparing to go to the Grammy Awards. I think we're like a month or so after we spoke. And so I would love to start by just asking you, how was that experience and what were the Grammy Awards like?
Wow. Yeah, thanks. It was incredible, actually. There's so many things to say about it. I'm not really sure. I mean, it was my first time officially being a Recording Academy member and being at the Grammys. I was at the Grammys once with some friends. But that was a long time ago, and it's different when you're just there for entertainment and you're not there because you're in the line of possible succession. No, you're in the line of possibly winning. So, just being nominated is such an honor. And it was fantastic. It was, uh, I think one of the interesting things I'll just share with you guys with this is that there's what I called it 2 Grammys. So there's the Grammys that happen during the day, starts at like around noon, and it goes until about 4 or 5, I think it went that day. And it was you go through, there was like I think there was 94, if I'm right, 94 possible nominations. So we had to go through all of them. And of course, a lot of people that were there that had actually won, we knew who won, but they weren't going to pick up the award because they're fairly prominent stars. So they come at the evening time, which is when everyone gets to watch on CBS, right? So, and they only do a section of the awards, and best song, best artist, new artist, that kind of thing. They highlight that, and so that's what happens. And I thought, oh, that's really interesting. Sitting there for hours, just going through all the categories. I mean, it was amazing, and such beautiful people and talent. Just it's extraordinary. As a business person, as a musician, singer, songwriter, being in a room full of people from all over the world, from all over the United States, that are actually in this club, I guess, for lack of a better word. It's hard to get into it. So you have to be really serious about what you're doing in order to become a Recording Academy member. And that's absolutely amazing. It was extraordinary, just hanging out with everybody. I loved it.
Yeah, I can only imagine. And I have the impression that there's almost like a show behind the show. Like when they cut away to commercials, for those of us on TV, there's stuff that goes on with people changing seats and all kinds of things. And
yeah.
And did you, when you were there and during the show, did that cause you to kind of reflect in that moment back on your journey to get there? Or were you just really present in the moment and watching what was happening at that moment?
Yeah, I was just really present. I think, later, like weeks later, whatever, you sit back and you go, how did I get here? Oh, I get it. Persistence. Yes. A clear vision. So.
Yes. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And are you working on new music now, since the Grammys?
Yeah, because this is what I call for myself. I call it Grammy season. So this is the time where you're recording, you're prepping. If you are going to enter into the awards for this year, so by the end of, I think, August, everything needs to be in and ready to go for marketing and everything like that, to present your new material or whatever to other Recording Academy members, because it is an industry award. So it's not, I've had friends, I love them. I go, can I vote? And I'm like, no, you can't, but thank you. No, it's an industry award. So my peers get to vote on my song, other people's songs, and then we get to see who gets the nomination and then who gets the win. So that's kind of how it is.
Wow. Well, congratulations. And I look forward to congratulating you on future Grammy nominations.
Yeah, thank you. So we're in it right now. I've got about, let's see, 2, 4, I think 6 songs right now that I'm working with other artists and going to be presenting for their consideration this year. So yeah, so we'll see. It's exciting.
Yes,
a lot
absolutely.
Of work.
One thing I'm curious in reading about your live performances, that you perform solo, but you also perform with other people. I think there's an Irish singer that you perform with, and I'm just curious to know, as a performer, what are the differences between performing alone and performing with someone else?
Yeah, that's really a great question. When I perform alone, that means I have tracks. So I have backing tracks. They're mine. They're original. It's not like I'm doing cover material, which I can. But that's usually, when you're doing stuff like that, you're limited in the sense that you do get to express yourself, but you don't have to worry about a band, or you'd have to worry about the expense of a band and hotels and all this other stuff. It's a lot of work. So you can, when you're doing just solo work, that's what I can do. It's real easy. Like last year I did a festival, and then it was just me and my tracks, which was weird, but at the same time, it's like, what are you going to do? We're in a time where, there's limited amount of resources for certain things. And you know what I mean? It's not like I'm Beyonce. So it's like where it's unlimited, so you got to kind of got to judge the situation. And then when I've got kind of a one woman show. It's what I called Soul on Fire. It's an experience, and that's multimedia. That's me singing. That's me storytelling. And talking about things that are pertinent to clarity, courage, confidence, commitment, and community, which is also connected to my book, which everyone will actually get a copy of in my what I call my one-day retreats. So that's kind of what I'm up to. And again, that would be solo. That would not be with a band or anything like that. It's just, at this point, it's just not feasible. I have live players though that actually jump in on the music when I'm recording it. So that's when you get your band scenario.
Yeah. Wow. Well, at the beginning of the show, I was talking about how we can how we can be persistent both in external ways and internal ways. And I have the sense that you are really good at listening to those internal whispers. Like you have the global badass goddess movement, I suppose. And you have your book, Own the Goddess Within. You have your VIP Goddess Code retreats. And I wonder if you can just tell us both about that, what that is, and also your process of listening to those inner whispers that led you to found that.
Yeah, that's really great. Like inner outer, you're so smart with that, because that's really what happens. What happened originally for me, I think was back in 2016 or something like that. I had a girlfriend come up to me and said, "Oh, you're a real badass goddess." And I said, "Oh," and the first thing I want to do is like, "Oh, no, I'm not," like how all us women are. It's like, no. And then I said, "No, Glenn, just take it where she meant it from." And she was really meaning it from, "You're a powerful, wise person that is, helping others, blah, blah, blah." And it was impressive, right? So that's where she was kind of coming from. And so I kind of backed off and I said, "Well, why don't I just own that? Like, what would it look like if I owned that experience and I could help others? I could help other women to own their badassness inside." And badass does not necessarily mean you're going to kick somebody down the road. It's not like that. So I thought, okay, and let me take that and turn it into an acronym, badass. And so I said, beautiful, accessible, daring, abundant, that type of thing. So you can take that acronym and make it for yourself. And then you live into that. That's what badass means for you. Sexy, sassy, abundant, that kind of thing. And then once you understand what badass means for you, then you can imbibe it, right? Then you can step forward with your own persistence and whatever you're doing and just live like that. So I thought, oh, that's wonderful. And so I started doing that. That's how I got the Badass Goddess movement. And then I started with Own the Goddess Within. So it's my workshop. I now have a one-day workshop that I'm going to be doing in Napa, California. And that's really affordable. And it's a one-day, and that's a Revive retreat. And we're calling that the Goddess Code VIP. So there's still a few seats left for that. Anybody that wants to come into Napa, for the wine country. So we're doing that. And I've got 2 more that will be happening in the UK. and then eventually a larger retreat, but that'll be in Italy. So that's not set yet, but that's what we're intending. And so, yeah, so that's what I'm doing. And inside of the one day, everyone's going to get a book and, and just be able to just really immerse yourself and try to understand what, how you want your life to really go. Like, what is it that you want and what is it that you don't want? So intuitively, you have to like tune in, right? Like you were saying, look within, and then you also have to look for the outer too. Like, so you're doing this balancing act. So that's, hopefully that answered your question.
Yes, it does. And and what a beautiful location. Napa is fantastic.
Yes.
People can go to the retreat and also add on a couple of days and enjoy the wine country.
Exactly. That's what we were thinking. Yeah. And it's at a beautiful winery. So yeah, wow. It's at a beautiful small winery. It's just gorgeous. And if anybody would be interested in that, yeah, just jump on my website and email me and say, hey, send me the details and I can send you the link and everything like that too. If you're interested or you're in the area, you want to come in for that one day retreat. It is a Saturday. It's going to be from 10 to 5. Yeah, 10 to 5 with a bespoke, beautiful catered lunch. So we'll be doing that. And then, everyone will come away with their journals and we'll have a beautiful conversation around clarity, courage, confidence, and commitment and community.
Wow, it sounds fantastic. That sounds like a fantastic day. And your retreats in the UK, are those longer? Is that like a 4-day retreat or?
No, it's going to be, we're doing we're just doing the 1 days like I'm doing now. We're just going to do a 1 day. We just found that that's going to be the easiest for all of us and concerned. And then we'll see the desire for the 4-day. And if people are interested, I'll put something together for a 4-day retreat in maybe Tuscany or something. Cause that's what we're talking to some people, a winery there actually. So.
That sounds like a little slice of heaven.
I know. I know.
So I'm curious in the progression of your books. You have the book Courage and you have the book Own the Goddess Within. Which one came first and how did the first one impact the development of the second one?
Well, funny enough, the first one is Courage, Find Your Fire and Ignite Action in Your Life. And that kind of came out of, oh, you're a badass goddess, Glenda. And I had my own podcast and everything. And you can see all those on my YouTube channel. But I decided that I was kind of laughing at a friend he's been trying to write a book for 10 years. I thought, how long does it take to write a book? And then I thought, okay, well, what do you have to offer? Put your money where your mouth is. And I thought, okay, what do I have to offer? So I thought, well, what does it take? Because people kept asking me, how do you do what you're doing? And, and I was helping kind of mentor a bunch of people. And I said, I thought to myself, it's clarity first. And then there's courage. And then there's confidence. Then there's commitment. And then there's community. And I thought, well, that's kind of how I do things in life. Right. And so I just decided that I was going to make an outline and see how it goes. And so I just played a game with myself. I said I was going to write a chapter a day, and I did. And I had it done in about 15 days. It's 144 pages. And I shared it with a mentor of mine. And she said, this is really wonderful. It has value. And I thought, okay, it has value. It's important to share my journey, my story, my words, right? So I thought, okay, I'll do that. And then I had it edited properly. And then that took another, 6 months to a year, because my music partner and he was moving out here from Boston. So it took a minute to do all that part of it. And and then I got introduced to Creative Edge Publicity, Mickey. And we've just kind of been rolling ever since. Mm-hmm.
Wow. That is actually very inspiring about writing a chapter a day in 15 days. And so I think I've never written a book, but I have that idea that it would be easy to get weighted down with it. And like your friend who was working on it for 10 years, you're kind of, I haven't got this part quite right. Or
exactly. And it's like kind of like what you were saying. It's that inner that inner monologue that's stopping you from doing whatever, it's that you got to be mindful of that. Just like you just said, you've got to be like, oh, well, what was that about? What am I afraid of? Like, what is that? And then you have to dig into that. And once you can be aware, that's the beginning of a transformation and once you can be conscious and aware of like, oh, that's something that I keep holding myself back from. But then again, after that, then it's a choice, right? How do I have that? How do I do a choice? How do I put myself into action? I have to be organized, put it in a map, put it in a computer, put it a calendar, do something just so you help yourself get over it. And then you have to psychologically help yourself like, well, thank you for sharing. And we're going to go ahead and write today.
Yes.
You just got to be ways of working with yourself, and knowing your stops and your blind spots.
Yes, it's self-management, I
Totally.
yes. Well, and with that, so you've written 4 books
Yeah.
so far, and did each of them follow that development pattern? Were you able to write them pretty quickly?
Yeah. The second one was Own the Goddess Within. That kind of went with my workshop and stuff like that. So it's more of my first one's a teaching memoir, but this one was more of like, here's this inspiration for today, and this is like that's kind of how I set it up. And then right after that I did, yeah, exactly, Own the Goddess Within. And those are super affordable, and they're PDFs, you just download them. And they're just fun things to do. And then the third one was Soul on Fire, which I mated that with my Soul on Fire performance. It's like a 2-hour performance, so that goes with that. And then I have the final book that I wrote, yeah, exactly, Soul on Fire. And then the last one is my the lost book, my grimoire of lost lore. And that was done with a really good friend of mine that's an amazing visual artist, D.S. Thornburg. He did all the beautiful drawing and everything, and he would send them to me just to say, what do you think? And I'd be like, oh my God, this is amazing. And then all of a sudden I had these downloads on what the story was about inside the picture. And I was like, whoa. And so I would write the story and then I would send it back to him. And he'd be like, oh my God, you're kidding. Oh my God, you just made my visual piece jump off the page, so to speak. Right. And I was like, wow, okay. I go, let's do a book. So that's, so
Yes.
we did it. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And are you working on another book now? Do you have an idea for another book?
No.
I need to work with that.
No. Of course, the more I say that, the more something's going to happen. Yeah.
Yes.
Right. That's all that's all my fun merch. Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. And if you guys buy something, I know who's buying and I can see who's buying, and I get on and I go to One Tree Planet and I buy a tree for everyone, each person that buys.
That is just fantastic. Well, thank you for doing that and for giving back to the world. It's easy to not do that, especially when you're starting something. And so kudos for making that one of your core pillars.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't cost much, take $1 off of each thing, and if you price yourself properly, then, you can do that, so,
Yes.
you just gotta, there's so much, business wise, there's so much benefits to, supporting your local, supporting, something you're passionate about. Not only it makes you feel good, but you're actually supporting another business that's actually in action around something. You know what I'm saying? So it's really important to do that. No matter what, it could be 50 cents. It doesn't have to be any particular thing. And then it just like, it makes people just really, really think deeply. Actually, it's like, well, what am I doing in my neighborhood to take care of something? Like literally, you guys, it could be someone local, the food bank. It could be, the homeless project. It could be anything, that really inspires you. So trust me, it'll make you feel good, even if it's like 50 cents, just like, I'm doing my part,
Yeah, I totally agree with you. There are so many ways to give back, and it's easy for us to think, oh, I can't give the $100,000, so
Totally.
I don't need to
Yeah.
do anything. But you're right, you can give 50 cents, you can donate your effort to volunteer at an organization. So
Yeah, or just even spread the word. Like
mm,
when you're on social media showing your food on your plate, maybe you can talk about something else. Maybe you could weave that food that was on the plate, talk to the waiter, tell me about what you said about the interaction between the waiter and then that tomato was sustainably grown, or something, that came from this farmer's market. There's many, 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 many ways. We just have to start thinking creatively. And I know it's challenging now because there's so much negativity, out on the planet right now, just kind of bombarding all of us, through social media and stuff like that. So it's really important to see what we can do to uplift others.
yeah. Well, thank you. I totally agree with that. I think that's such an
Yeah.
important message. I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. As you were talking about your books and also the goddess retreats, it occurred to me that I can see a similarity between your music and the performances and the
Mm.
retreats in the sense that I would imagine that at the retreats, you see some light bulbs go off in the attendees. They'll get a concept and it's like, oh my gosh, here's my clarity, or I've really connected with my courage on this. And there's a light bulb moment. And I would imagine as a performer, when you're singing a particular song and someone really gets struck by the lyrics, do you also see that kind of a light bulb, like a lighting up that happens with people?
Yeah, sometimes. I for me, before I go on, I set all my intentions and I get really grounded in why I'm here and how I need to um, just be in the zone and reflect my expression of the song. So sometimes you don't necessarily catch all the nuances when you're performing because you're in it. You're for lack of a better word, I'm channeling my own spirit or spirit, whatever you want to hear. And it's my expression. And the more that I can be in the song and in the energy of the song, then I can share whatever that meant for them. And then sometimes I get the feedback, not necessarily while I'm on stage, but after, then people come up to me and say, "Oh my gosh, when you sang that song," and you can never guess, like you can never guess what's somebody's favorite song is going to be or why, because you're thinking, "Oh my goodness, really? That's your favorite song?" But it meant something to them for some reason. And so I, as an entertainer, singer, songwriter, it's really important for me to make sure I stay present with that for them because they're trying to share with me something that's very that help them or help connect them to something that's either a light bulb goes off in that moment or there's some transformation that happens. And that's the jewels, man, as an artist, to have somebody get something and not what you get, or not why you wrote it. So yeah, it's pretty awesome, pretty special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm thinking when you were talking about your process, I think there were 4 C's that you mentioned. There was clarity, courage, community,
Confidence.
confidence, and it just occurred to me that maybe another C is connecting,
Yeah,
that
that's great. That's great. Grab your own acronym.
yes, yeah, you're connecting with people, so yeah.
Yeah, yeah, totally. Because mine is community, right? So it says
Mhm.
community, but
Yes.
yeah, definitely connecting for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely, 100%. And that's the jewels and the gifts, that you get to back and forth. I get feedback from people and I get to have their experience. And it's just nice to see people feel good when they leave.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'm so impressed and inspired by how much you do through your creativity, whether it's in music or your books or your retreats. And how do you not feed, but how do you support your own persistence in each of those? Because I could imagine it would be easy perhaps to get focused on one, and then another area sort of goes a little bit to the back burner. And
Yeah.
how do you support your persistence in all of those pursuits?
Yeah. Well, I have to follow my own ritual, I have to follow the things that I have talked about in the book, actually. And you know, um, everyone should have a ritual of some sort um through the day. Like for me, I don't wake up until about noon. That's just, I'm a night owl. That's whatever. But I'm physically up between 7:30 and 8:30. Doesn't mean I'm awake. It just means I'm up, right? So that's the crazy part. Um, and then what I do is upon that awakening, I sit and I listen to a guided meditation. I set my intentions. I become present and mindful of what am I saying to myself? Like, what is it in my head? Is it a positive thing or is it negative? And then if it's negative, what I do is I either write it down or just stay aware of it. And I go, okay, that's something that I need to pay attention to. Not give it attention or let it run rampant, but just pay attention to it. It's like, oh, okay, I don't feel good today and I'm kind of grumpy. And what I'm saying to myself is I'm not good enough. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, okay. So let's do something that let's acknowledge and go into gratitude and thankfulness about, you just start at the beginning, even if you don't want to. Trust me. It's like, I'm grateful for breathing. I'm great. You just start with this thing and you're like, and then finally, then I move into exercise. And then you can see everything lighten up and lift. And that's how I kind of start my day. And then I'm scheduled. So I let my devices tell me what to do, and I set alarms for things that are important. So that's how I keep organized. As an artist, you have to either have a personal assistant. I'm not there, but you have to really allow, like, we're so fortunate now. We have devices, they're called phones with a calendar. So they'll tell you what to do. They'll go off and say, it's time to do this. And you go, okay, good. And then I don't have to worry about it. Then I don't keep my mind space all clogged up with, I wonder what time it is. Oh, I wonder if I got to do this. Oh, I wonder that. Oh, I forgot. Oh my God. And because I've had a few moments of those where you're just like, I was so deep into that, situation or that conversation. And I had nothing set up like an alarm or anything, and I was just like, blow it right through it, which happens. It's human. It happens to all of us, but we got to help ourselves.
Yeah. I think that's really great advice about, setting up a ritual and doing whatever you can to take the burden off your own brain. And
100%.
yeah. Oh,
I always say, I love that. I think I love that quote. Somebody said this once. I don't know if it's a comedian or something, but the mind is a terrible thing.
Yeah, that's right.
I was like, I know, it's yelling at me right now. Negative stuff.
Yes, that is. I like that. Yes,
the mind is a terrible thing.
Yeah, it's absolutely true. I'm curious to know, when you're writing songs versus writing a book, and again, I'm speaking without having written either of those things, but I'm imagining that, when you're writing a song, there's a lyrical part of it, and you're probably hearing some music in your head. And when you were writing your books, was it hard to transition to a different style of writing, or did you also feel like in a way you were writing lyrically in those books?
That's a great question. And no, they're definitely two different mediums. No, when I wrote the book, it was more of like me shooting in the dark, kind of like, well, how do you write a book? Well, I think you just let me make an outline. You got to, first of all, you got to think about what do you have of value to say? Doesn't mean you should say it. It just means that's the first question. That's what, for me, that was the first question. If I'm going to say something, do I have some value? Do I have some background? Do I have something? Everybody's going to be different because some people have, different areas of expertise. So I wrote about my life because I'm an expert in my life, and I wrote about my breakthroughs and my trials and triumphs, so I wrote through that, and I wrote about that, not through that. I worked through that. and I wrote about that in order to always being conscious of supporting people. Like, well, if I was reading this, what would I want to take away from it? And what are some things that I can do to help myself through it? So that's kind of, yeah, it's kind of what I did with that. As far as songwriting, it's completely different. Songwriting is, and there's phases to that for me. Everybody's different. Every songwriter, every writer is different. So it's not one size fits all. Sometimes there's music, sometimes there's not. Like I just wrote a song called Unbreakable. It's going to be one of my songs up for consideration for Grammys this year. And I wrote it because I saw a friend of mine be so inspired by his Christianity. He found God or whatever for himself, and he'd struggled for a long time with drugs and alcohol. And he's Irish, live in Ireland, and there was a Christian group that came along and helped him out of his situation, and he's just clean and sober as the day goes on now, and he's just. I just saw him and just like, oh, so grateful for that, because he's such a beautiful human being. And now he's thriving. So, with that, I saw what that was happening, and it just touched me. And then I had to translate that. And then I thought to myself, we're all unbreakable. We're irreplaceable. We're irreplaceable. We're unmistakably love. We're unmistakable love. And that's what came to me. And so I wrote that down and I went through all that. And that was the inspiration for that. Now the book, kind of like that, but not really. Like you got to finish sentences in a book.
Yes.
A song, you don't have to. Statements, conversation like that.
That's a good point. I didn't think about that, but you're absolutely right.
I gotta finish that sentence, Anyway.
Yes. Well, and do you find as you're now preparing songs to submit for the Grammys this year, is this a different experience than last year?
Oh yeah. Being a nominee, it's a whole different world. You psycho-spiritually step into a whole new way of living and being and thinking about yourself. And, it's just different. And then plus actually when you being boots on the ground, right. And being there, you just kind of go, wow, this is cool. This is like, I don't know. I've worked all my life. Since I was 16. I've been professionally singing since I was 16, and it wasn't up until about 4 years ago I went, wait a minute, I'm a professional. Why can't I have a Grammy? So I said, okay, Google, how do you get a Grammy? And that's how I started. I just was inquiring, curious, be curious.
Oh, well, and I love that because you're embodying courage. That took courage to think that and feel that. And then you looked into it and you found out how. And so there's a really important piece of courage right there.
Yeah. Well, and that if you want to use that as an example, well, I got clear, right? Clarity. Oh, I should be in the Recording Academy. Oh, clarity, right? Then I had the courage to go, and then jump out, right? And then after that, you start to get a little confidence. Oh, okay, I can do this. I can help other people now, confidence. And then I got commitment. I'm committed to this. Okay, I'm going to do this. And then you go into community. Then you start creating community. And that's what I got to have, when I was at, Grammys, was I got to have community. It's like, oh, these people are badasses too. Everybody's here doing their thing, creating, working, wanting to be social, wanting to have community, wanting to work together, for different reasons. But yeah, it's cool.
You
Yeah.
just actually gave me goosebumps because that's like a beautiful full circle moment,
It totally was. Yeah.
Yes. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. Well, I know that we're just about out of time, but I wanted to ask you to please share with us how people can connect with you if they'd like to learn more about any aspect of this, your music, your retreats, your books. What is the best way for people to connect with you?
The best way is just reach out to me, glendamusic.com. That's the easiest way for anybody that's listening. Glenda, Glenda, music.com. Then you can just reach out to me and go, hey, what are you doing next? How can I do this? How can I come to the Napa? How can I come to UK? How can I do all this? And then I can send you links. Most likely they'll also be up on my website, so you can click and buy if you want. All my merch is there. Everything is there. Just move around. If you want to go into my YouTube channel and watch my music videos, you can watch my own podcasts and stuff that I'd been doing for a while for Goddess stuff. And then also for Glenda Music, got some pretty phenomenal artists on there that I get to interview. And then coming up on July 11th, I'm a guest speaker at the Business Growth Crowd. That's July 11th at 9 a.m. Pacific time. Again, it should be on my Facebook. You can find me easy, Glenda Benevides on Facebook. All of that is at the bottom of my website if you want to go there. And here's a link to Facebook and all that stuff like that. But it should be on Facebook. The Business Growth Crowd. It's pretty cool. It's I think it's free for my guests. So anybody that wants to come on and listen or participate, network, should be fun. Yep.
All right. Oh, fantastic. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much for sharing this. And
Yeah.
I'm excited to just see what happens over the coming year in all of these areas. I think you're doing really exciting things and you're putting goodness back out into the world. And
Yes.
so
Thank you. Thank you.
I thank
Yeah,
you
it's
for
my
that.
part. I'm doing my part. I'm
You
trying
are.
to do my part. Stay in my lane. Do my part.
Yes, and you're absolutely doing it. So please come back again and let us know how things are going.
I will. Thank you so much, Kimberly. I so appreciate you. Thank you for you and you doing all the beautiful things that you are, especially with your creativity. Yeah.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. Thank you
Yes.
so much.
You're so welcome.
All right. Oh my gosh. I'm literally, I have goosebumps from that last point, about everything coming together into the 5 C's. So thank you, Glenda, so much for this. I end every show with a quote about persistence. And the one I selected today, I think fits perfectly with the discussion that we had. It's from Justin Sachs, who said, if we look at those who are the most successful in the world, persistence is the common denominator. And I think Glenda embodies that in every aspect of what she's working on. So thank you so much. We are here twice a month on Tuesdays on USA Global TV and Radio. And if you would like to connect with me, you can find me at ringthing.com. And my email is also kimberly@ringthing.com. And I would love to hear from you regarding any comments on the show, suggestions for guests, or any questions about the Ring Thing or about me or anything. So please feel free to get in touch. So thank you so much. And I look forward to seeing you next time.
USA Global TV and Radio, home of the YouTube Silver Creator Award, proudly presents Just the Thing for Your Ring, introducing the patented Ring Thing. Your premium personal ring holder to keep your ring safe, nearby, and avoid loss.
The Ring Thing just got smarter. Add your logo and an NFC tag that opens to your website with one tap. Waterproof, inner padding, and now a forever business card.
Just the thing for your ring. Scan the QR code seen here to learn more about Ring Thing or place your order. Follow Ring Thing on Instagram at ring_thing_ or go to our website ringthing.com.
Get ready to wear the brand that's changing the world of media. Introducing the official USA Global TV and Radio online store. From our TV show hosts to our incredible global guests, you asked, we delivered. Rep your appearance with pride. Whether you've been on air, hosted a show, or tuned in, we have something just for you. Visit us at usaglobaltvradiosshop.myspreadshop.com and start shopping today. Check back frequently. We're dropping fresh new designs all the time. Showcase your role in our global community. These designs celebrate your voice, your story, your presence. It's more than just merchandise. It's a movement of hope, inspiration, education, and elevated listening. Head to usaglobaltvradiosshop.myspreadshop.com. Your spotlight awaits. USA Global TV and Radio. Elevate your style. Elevate the world.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/USAGlobalTV. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Music by Johnny Dies. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative Direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Copyright 2025. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.